Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. So today we got a pretty unexpected review today, and we're going to be taking a look at the Jurassic World Rebirth Lab Lockdown Tyrannosaurus Rex. So I know this is a figure that came out all the way last year, so I'm kind of late doing a review on this, but the only reason why I have it is actually I recently came back from Walmart and I got this it was like on a clearance sale, I think, or it was on some sort of sale to the point where this Rex used to be like roughly $30 and now it's like on clearance or on sale for like $15. So that is a huge steal right there for me. And I just had to get it because I don't have any Jurassic World Rebirth T-Rex figures in my collection. The only reason why I don't have any Rebirth T-Rexes in my collection is, first of all, I'm trying to get all the new species and all the, other cooler things that I've been kind of wanting from the movie. I'm not saying that the T-Rex isn't cool. The T-Rex in Rebirth was awesome, but I had to, other things I had to, focus on first before, getting anything else. And, I also have hopes that we're going to get the Rebirth T-Rex in the Hammond collection from Mattel in the future. It's not confirmed, but, it's not exactly impossible either. I mean, it's very possible that we're going to get a Rebirth T-Rex in the Hammond collection. And that's kind of part of the reason why I didn't have any Rebirth T-Rexes, because I just didn't really think it was really worth to get this T-Rex if there's going to be a better one possibly in the future. But again, we don't know for sure. But, for quite a while now, this T-Rex right here, the Lab Lockdown one, has been on sale for like $15 for a while now. And, I just kind of caved in and had to get it. So now I finally have a Rebirth T-Rex in my collection, and I'm actually pretty happy to have this one because I've seen many reviews and pictures of this one, and it is an awesome T-Rex figure. The sculpt is amazing on this one, and I can't wait to get a closer look at it. So yeah, that's my story. But here it is. Here we have the Lab Lockdown T-Rex. Now, I don't know if I'll ever get the electronic one. I guess we'll have to wait and see in the future, but as of right now, most likely not. At least I have a Rebirth T-Rex right here, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyways, let's go over the packaging here. It's your standard Rebirth packaging that we've seen for a long time now. You got a picture of the T-Rex opening its jaws. You got the little measurement and the picture of the figure right there. It says try me because there's a little button right there. Jurassic World Rebirth, Lab Lockdown T-Rex. I'm curious why they call it the Lab Lockdown T-Rex. You got a render of the T-Rex right here, the Mattel logo. You got like the whole jungle Alison Hubert, backdrop right there. Then on the side here it says Jurassic World Rebirth, Jurassic World Rebirth. And then here on the back you get a nice little render of the figure showing you that you can push a button on its back. Got the Jurassic World Rebirth logo again, Lab Lockdown T-Rex. It's part of the land, assortment. It says Massive Chop, so it's basically like a newer, updated version of like the Extreme Chop and T-Rex essentially. Got the Lab Lockdown, or sorry, the scan code, the Jurassic Facts app information. I don't know where I started saying Lab Lockdown. And then you got a bunch of other stuff down here as well as the Mattel logo. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this really cool T-Rex figure. Alrighty, so here we have the Lab Lockdown T-Rex out of the box and fully assembled, because all we have to do is attach the tail to it, which is pretty typical for some of these Mattel figures. And holy cow, this T-Rex is amazing, and it was definitely worth the $15 for sure. I am really happy that I have this in my collection. The sculpt on this T-Rex, this is definitely Mattel's best T-Rex sculpt ever. Like, period. Out of all the T-Rexes that Mattel has done, this one has the best sculpt for sure. The sculpt is just amazing, and it's filled with detail and captures the Rebirth T-Rex very nicely. The Rebirth T-Rex has, I would say, has a difference in design compared to the previous T-Rexes that we've seen. So it definitely has a bit of a redesign for sure. And I think Mattel captured it perfectly in this figure. So yeah, this figure right here is pretty perfect. And it's actually a pretty good and basic T-Rex toy. You don't need any action features, at least like any fancy ones like twisting the tail per se, even though I really like the twisting of the tail, but just having kind of like a generic T-Rex where you just have a button for the jaw and just kind of some movable limbs and no sounds, that is actually pretty good. It's a really nice, you know, just generic T-Rex toy, and I'm all in for it. So I think Mattel did an excellent job with this T-Rex for sure. I would say one of the things that I have a little bit of a gripe on when it comes to this figure, and that's the size. The entire sculpt of this figure is great. I just wish that this was on a bigger sculpt. And I know they did a bigger Rebirth T-Rex, that larger gray electronic one, and that one's cool too. But I kind of wish this one was also that big, because it would have been nice just to have like a generic giant sized T-Rex with just a normal action feature of a button and no sounds and just movable limbs and all that, because that would have been just perfect in my opinion. But this one's like your generic extreme chomping T-Rex size for sure. So yeah. Taking a closer look at the design and just the overall sculpt of this T-Rex, it is amazing. If you look at here on the head, this is just exactly how the Rebirth T-Rex looks, with every single scale detail. Like, you got these larger pebble scales all over the skull and some smaller ones, and just the shape of the head is just spot on with what we got in Rebirth. Like, you got these larger pebbles around the eye socket right here, these larger ones along like the eye ridge right here, this nice pattern of scales right here towards the tip of the snout, which looks awesome. You got the signature scarring right there on the side of the face that the Rebirth one has. You also got the signature like super large like circular scale plate right here on the side of the lower jaw, which is very similar to that of an iguana, and they just kind of added that into the Rebirth T-Rex, which is a pretty unique and iconic characteristic of the Rebirth T-Rex in my opinion. So you got that really cool scaling right here on the side of the jaw, which looks really good, and the same thing can be applied on the other side. The detailing is just great on this T-Rex regardless. So yeah, I really love the detail, especially here at the top of the head. Just some more like that nice rough textured in the skin up here, and some really nice fine looking smaller scales up here. And then just, I can't get over just how amazing the scaling works, or how good it looks on the side of the face right here. And you even got the little ear hole right there, which looks really good, and the nostrils, and just, oh my gosh, the sculpt work on this head is just amazing on this T-Rex. Mattel, you did an excellent job with this one. And the teeth look really good as well. They're made of like that separate rubber, separately molded rubber piece. So they're not painted. They are molded in this beige color, so they're not going to scuff no matter how many times you use it. The inside of the mouth looks really good as well. Nice detail on the roof of the mouth and on the back of the mouth, even on the bottom as well. You know, pretty standard for Mattel. The teeth look nice and sharp as well, so that looks really nice. The tongue looks really good as well. Nice, you know, basic detail you got on the tongue, and this is made of like a somewhat of a flexible, maybe a bit more of a sturdy rubber material. And the little jaw tendons right here look really good in terms of the detail. And yeah, just the detailing all over the head right here just looks great in this in terms of the scales. So yeah, Mattel captured the Rebirth T-Rex very nicely. The detail around the eye looks really good as well. I also love how the head looks from a forward point of view. It pretty much captures like the look of like the famous CGI model T-Rex from the original trilogy. It's got like that unique look at the front of the face, and I think Mattel captured that very nicely, because even the Rebirth one had it. It's like the Rebirth one took the same CGI model from the original trilogy, just kind of updated it with the scale detail and all that stuff, and I think Mattel captured that pretty nicely with the head shape right here. It just looks super menacing looking at it straight on like that, which is super cool. Mattel knocked it out of the park with that. Even here at the underside of the jaw, nice amount of little scales kind of sticking out right here towards the lower part of the jaw, which looks really nice. Some nice wrinkly skin texture right here, which looks really good. Very reminiscent to that of an iguana, I would say, especially with the scales right there. And then moving down the neck, nice wrinkles in the skin right there, which looks really nice, especially here at the underside. Really great detail with that, and some really great detail in the tiny little scales kind of sculpted in. You got some larger ones kind of sprinkled in little patches across the neck as well. And here at the top, you got a nice little ridge of little scoots, which actually go down all the way to the tip of the tail, which looks really nice. I really like that little design choice. And you got some more here. You got like 2 more rows of like these little scoots going down the neck, and it goes down the body, as well as down the tail as well. So that's really nice. I will say that's probably one of the things that isn't accurate about this T-Rex, even though the sculpt, overall the sculpt is pretty accurate to what we got in the film, especially within the head region. But I do know for sure that the T-Rex in Rebirth did not have these rows of scoots going down the back. When I first saw the toy images of the Rebirth T-Rex toy, I thought like, oh yeah, this T-Rex definitely has like a major, you know, upgrade and difference in design where it has like these scoots when the previous ones did not. And if you watch the movie, it does not have these scoots on its back at all. So this might be like a concept art thing where they're focusing on the concept art rather than the final product, which a lot of companies do when it comes to making toys for the movies. So these little scoots are not accurate, but they are pretty cool and very unique for this T-Rex sculpt. So I do like it regardless. In addition to the scoots, you got really nice kind of like grooves or lines going down the neck connecting all the little scoots, kind of similar to that of like the back of a crocodilian, which is pretty cool. And it's also covered in a lot of nice scales in between those little rods as well, which is really nice. And then moving on to the body, great amount of scales all over the side right here, which look really great. And they feel really great too. Imagine if this was a real field T-Rex. The scales would feel very nice and very realistic for sure. But yeah, the scale detail looks great on this one. I really like the way it's done on here. I also like how the scales look up here along the back with all these little scoots and all that. So really great detail for there. The arms look really nice as well. The scale detail look really great here on the side. Even the little fingers look really nice as well. Nice detail on the scoots along the fingers, and the claws look really nice as well. They are made of somewhat of a softer rubber material, I guess, because it's definitely different than what you got for the rest of the body. And then here on the side, you got some nice wrinkles in the skin right there. And even here on the underside, you got a really nice amount of wrinkles in the skin on the underbelly of the T-Rex. And that pretty much continues all the way from basically the end of the jaw and goes all the way to the tip of the tail. So you got like that really nice, wrinkly, smooth skin texture. There isn't really any scales kind of sculpted in right here. I do kind of wish this T-Rex had like the famous characteristic of larger scales, almost like crocodilian-like here on the chest and the belly region, which is what you get in the previous T-Rex sculpts for sure. Kind of wish they added that to this one, but you know, it's okay, it is what it is. The previous T-Rexes don't really have that, except for maybe the Hammond collection. Then moving on to the legs look really nice as well. Really great muscle definition throughout the leg. They look very muscular, very strong. Definitely has like that really, like I said, strong look like you get in the movies. Really great detail in the little lines going up against the thigh region right here, which looks really good. So Mattel did a great job with the sculpt there. Really great scaling going in between those lines as well, which look really good. The scale work here along the leg just looks really good, especially here around the knee region and going down. Nice muscles flexing through the skin as well. Some nice smaller scales, and you got some larger ones here towards the calf region, which look really good. I like how they have a difference in the shapes of the scales throughout the body. Then move it down to the ankle, you kind of transition from the scales into like this more lined texture and some more kind of muscles kind of poking through the foot, the rest of the foot as well. And then speaking of the rest of the foot looks really good as well. I really like how small and proportionate the feet look compared to the rest of the body, which is a lot more accurate and a lot more better than the larger feet Mattel put on them before. The claws look nice and sharp as well. Well, not really sharp, but they look nice and pointed, not super blunt and rounded, which is really good. And I like the detail in the little ridges along each of the toes as they go up the foot. So that's pretty nice, pretty accurate to the Jurassic Park T-Rex. So I really do like the way the feet look, especially with the size, a lot more accurate for sure. And you've got the little dew claw, which looks really nice as well. I like that, and really nice scales on the other side of the leg right here too, which look really good. And everything else is kind of marked this lined texture, and we get that for the rest of the foot as well. On the underside of the foot, you got some more just kind of really basic skin, you know, wrinkly texturing for the bottom of the foot. You even got the little scan code right there if you guys want that. I also like how the claws is basically a separate insert of plastic based on what you can see on the underside. It's a separate piece inserted to the foot, so it gives off the illusion that the toe claws are painted when they're actually it's just a piece of plastic molded in that black color, which I really do like. It kind of saves money from having to, you know, paint the claws, or Mattel not having to paint the claws, so I really do like how Mattel does this. Same here on the other side of the foot, you got that nice Jurassic logo. And on the other side of the leg, it's pretty much the same sculpt work with the lines and the scales and all that. Just a really nice kind of wrinkly skin texture. And then moving on to the back, you got some nice, you know, wrinkly stretched skin right here on the back of the leg. Kind of gives it like that realistic movement feel to it. The scales look really good here as well, just like the rest of the body. And it looks really good. And again, nice smooth texturing from the bottom of the tail as usual, like what we said before. And then the rest of the tail is kind of is covered in like these nice finer looking scales all the way to the tail for the most part. It's kind of a bit more, doesn't really show up too much towards the tip of the tail, but as you move further up, it transitions into the smaller scaling, which looks really good. So yeah, the sculpt work on this T-Rex is amazing with the movie accuracy, and just the detail itself just looks really good. May not be 100% accurate, but for what it is still an awesome JP T-Rex figure for sure. Definitely one of Mattel's best. One thing too that isn't really 100% accurate is the way the teeth look here at the upper jaw. They kind of should have ended like right here, but they got like this extra additional teeth kind of going up the mouth and ending right towards this little divot right here, which you don't really see in the movies. You don't see the teeth kind of extend up the jaw that far, but it isn't a huge deal at all. I actually really do like the way it looks. Kind of adds a pretty cool, unique, gnarly, menacing look to it, so I really do like that. So yeah, sculpt work, phenomenal on this figure. Now in terms of colors, the colors themselves is another thing that's not entirely accurate, especially with what we got in the film. The T-Rex in the film was a lot more green in color. The bigger Rebirth T-Rex is a lot more gray, which isn't entirely accurate. That's more accurate with a lot of the renders, or early renders and concept art that we got. This one's a bit more of a brown color, which is kind of like your standard T-Rex color from the movies, but it doesn't match the one from Rebirth too much. And then you got like this dark gray, blackish color for a lot of the striping patterns on the figure. Like you got like this dark color kind of going on the top of the snout right here and kind of striping down in like 3 little stripes along this side of the snout, which looks really good. And it got a bit more of that kind of highlighting the inside of the eye socket, which really highlights the skull very nicely and highlights the eye very nicely as well, which is done in a really nice yellow color. And it just highlights it very nicely, adds like that really cool menacing look to this T-Rex. And I really do like how they just darkened the eye socket. I really do like that. And you got a bit more like that dark color kind of striping down all over the rest of the body. It's kind of hard to see on camera right now, but once you see it in person, you can see it a lot more. But yeah, it just kind of stripes down, and it stripes in a very nice way. However, unfortunately, the stripes end right here, right before where the attached tail part goes, which I really do wish the striping continued down the tail just a bit more, just to make it feel a bit more complete in my opinion, instead of just abruptly ending right there. Even the larger gray one has that problem where the colors or the striping just ends right there. So that is a bit unfortunate. Probably something I don't like too is the how much the colors don't really feel complete because it's not applied throughout the rest of the body. But you know, that's pretty much how Mattel does it these days, and sometimes it's fine and sometimes it can be a little bit of an eyesore. But for this one it's not too terrible, but it's definitely noticeable for sure. But I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. And then for the top of the head right here, or on the head part, you got this nice kind of more of a lighter, maybe not really like more of a beige color, a darker shade of like beige, much darker than what we got for the teeth, for the lower jaw, and it goes down the neck right here, and you got a little bit of that on the chest, and then it disappears. Much like the striping, I really would have wished for this beige color to continue all the way down for the rest of the underbelly and towards the tip of the tail. So that would have made it a lot better in my opinion. And then of course the the claws are molded in this darker plastic. They're not really painted, but I really would have liked to see the finger claws painted in this darker color as well. And it kind of would have been nice to see some of this like darker color applied on the side of the leg too, but that's just my own opinion. The inside of the mouth is done in this nice fleshy red color, which looks really good, and I like it. It just covers the entire inside of the mouth, which makes it feel very complete in my opinion. So yeah, the colors are pretty nice on this one, even if it's not entirely accurate with what we got in the film. So in terms of articulation, there's actually a lot of going on here, not having to do with an action feature, which is really nice. So the jaws do move, but it is part of an action feature, which is perfectly fine. But you do got an articulated joint here towards the neck, which is pretty interesting and very cool as well. So you can make the head go, or the neck go up about that far, so you can kind of make it look up a bit. You can make it look down about that far, which is pretty nice. You can also make it look left and right, so you can kind of make it look from side to side, which is really cool. And I like how you can pose it just like that. It's really good for not only display, but it's really good for pictures. It can also rotate, but I'm not sure how much you can do, because I do know the button up here does control the jaw, so there might be some sort of wiring on the inside in order for the button to work. So I'm not sure if the twisting is really gonna harm it, but it does twist a little bit. But it is really cool. You got some really nice movement in the neck, which I really do like, instead of having it be an action feature. So I really do like that. The arms right here, they just move, or yeah, they just pivot to the side, up and down, just like that. And they can move forward and backwards, which is pretty basic, but it works for a T-Rex toy, so I'm not going to complain there. And then for the thighs or the legs, they can just move forward and backwards with a nice ratchet click feel to it, forward and backwards, which is really nice. And they can pivot in and out, which is a big surprise, but really cool there. And then you got a swivel here at the foot, which can move side to side as well, which I usually try to avoid using that because it breaks up the sculpt. But yeah, and then you got the tail joint, which is where you attached it to the body, which much like the neck can go up and down. So you can have it posed in different ways, left and right, as well as this part can swivel as well. So really nice, you know, posability there. And then you get to the tip of the tail, which actually has another joint which can move 360, which I try to avoid those as well, because again, it breaks up the sculpt. So yeah, sculpt wise, paint wise, articulation wise, this is a pretty darn good T-Rex. Now for the action feature, it's super basic, but you know, it works. It doesn't have to have a dramatic action feature, which I really do like. There's a button right here that you just press it and it just controls the jaw. Super cool, super basic, and yet it's just very fitting for this T-Rex toy. I really do like that. This is definitely like an upgrade from the previous extreme chomping T-Rexes, and I really do love it. I love the way this looks. I also noticed too how the tongue sticks out. It doesn't move at all. It just kind of sits there, kind of like how the previous extreme chomping T-Rex's tongues stick out like that. And also one thing to note, that the button right here, I don't know why, but it feels very flimsy, and all of them have that. All the ones that I've seen at the store have like that really weird flimsy, kind of fragile feel to the button. Like I feel like if you press it too many times, or if you press it too hard, the mechanism is gonna snap. I don't know why, it just has that feeling. I mean, I don't know, it just had, I guess you might want to be careful with this button in the future, however many times you use it. Just do be careful in order for it to doesn't, you know, make sure it doesn't snap and all that stuff, because I feel like it might in the future. But that's just how it feels to me. I don't know if it happens with anyone else, but I always like to open it, you know, with my hands too. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the action feature. Very, very basic, but I really do like the way it looks. So starting off with comparisons, here we have Dr. Henry Loomis, a Rebirth human character next to the T-Rex, and obviously, you know, the T-Rex is on the smaller side, like the previous extreme chomping T-Rexes. It's not super big, like I wish it was. I really do wish this T-Rex was big, especially for it being a a basic non-electronic T-Rex. I would have loved to see it in a larger scale, but still, it is a pretty nice size next to a human figure. Not accurate at all, but still, overall, pretty interesting to what we got here. Now, this one I was actually really excited to compare as soon as I got the T-Rex. Here we have the real field Triceratops next to the lab lockdown T-Rex, and these two scale very nicely with each other. This Triceratops definitely is a bit smaller than like the Habitat Defender, which it does make it feel a bit more smaller compared to the larger T-Rexes. But when you compare it to the size of the T-Rexes, the scaling works perfect here. This is like exactly like the perfect size for a fight between the two animals, which is really cool. I really do love how these two scale next to each other. It's very accurate, I would say, and it pretty much captures just the classic vibe that you get with a Triceratops fighting a T-Rex. I would have loved to have this as a kid. I'd have so much fun having a T-Rex battle out a big Triceratops like this. So yeah, I really love the size and the scaling with these two figures. And last but not least, here we have the lab lockdown T-Rex compared with the original extreme chomping T-Rex molds that we've gotten. This isn't the exact same one that we got in Fallen Kingdom. Same sculpt and everything, but different colors. This is the Legacy Collection one that came with the Ford Explorer back in 2021. Still has the same sculpt, so I just decided to bring it out. Plus, I like the colors on this one a lot more, the darker brown colors. And yeah, as you can tell, they are roughly the same size of T-Rexes, because these are like the extreme chomping sized, that we've gotten since 2018. And yeah, there's a lot of difference here comparing both of them together. Obviously, the difference is in design. Obviously, this one is based off of the, essentially the Jurassic World T-Rex design that we've gotten in the last Jurassic World trilogy, whereas this one is based off of the one from Rebirth, which has a pretty difference, in design as well compared to the other one. As you can see, there's a different shape in the arms. The arms on the older ones have a bit more of a skinnier look to it, whereas these ones feel a lot more beefier. The neck length is a lot different. Like, as you can see, the T-Rex the neck length on this one is a lot more longer, and this one's a lot more shorter and stubbier on the newer one. And also, in addition, the overall size and bulk of the T-Rex in Rebirth is drastically different than what we got in the previous films. I love how chunky the T-Rex is in Rebirth, how just massive it looks, and just how fat it is, because it pretty much captures the look of what we currently know about T-Rex today in the paleontological world, where the T-Rex is always portrayed as being just a big beefy animal, super strong and all that. And I love how Rebirth captured that with their new T-Rex design. You can just see the difference in the bulk and the size. This one's a lot more thinner and skinnier, and this one's just super big and massive. I really do love that. And as you can see, there's a huge difference in size of the feet. You got the super large clown feet on the older ones, and the better proportionate smaller feet on the newer ones. So yeah, a lot of differences here between these two figures. Not only in just terms of being a toy, but also just in terms of designs in general, based on the two different ones seen in the films. And they got like that simple basic jaw mechanism with just the neck. And I really do like the button one on this one a lot more. You're not having to press on the neck, you just press it back here. I don't know, I just like it more on the lab lockdown than the previous ones, in my opinion. So yeah, very interesting to compare both of these together. Alrighty everyone, so that's about to wrap it up for this review. Sorry for another long one again. There's just so much to talk about with these figures. For my final thoughts of the lab lockdown T-Rex, I love it. Like I said, it is such a great figure. Definitely the best sculpted T-Rex that we've gotten from Mattel ever. And even the T-Rex in Rebirth is definitely my favorite T-Rex in the entire franchise. I just love its design. And I think Mattel captured it pretty perfectly in this figure. Even though if it's not 100% accurate, I think Mattel captured the look of it pretty nicely to what we see on screen. I especially love the head on this T-Rex. The detailing with the scaling and just the shape and everything, it's so much better than the previous T-Rexes we've gotten from Mattel for sure. So I love everything about this one. I love the colors, I love the detail, and I just love the articulation and just the basic jaw mechanism, no sound effects and anything. So I could literally take pictures of this T-Rex in a river if I really wanted to capture that Rebirth look to it. So yeah, I absolutely love this T-Rex. I am super happy I got it. I don't know what took me so long, but I'm really glad I got it. And if you guys are still wanting this T-Rex, if the deal is still going on at Walmart for its cheaper price, I recommend picking this figure up because it is such a great T-Rex, in my opinion. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.